Aloha, you are now entering behind the scenes and beyond the talk with TEDxHonolulu. I'm your co-host, Justine Espiritu.
And I am your other host, Jennifer Killinger. And today we are here to let you know a little bit more about what goes on at TEDxHonolulu. If you would like to contact us during the show, please tweet at ThinkTech and we can answer any questions you may have live today.
So before we introduce our guest, I'd like to kind of reintroduce the series and let you know why we have this show. TEDxHonolulu is a really unique organization that's putting on programs and events, and a lot goes into it. Not only are we featuring diversity of local speakers that have ideas that are worth spreading here in our own community, there's also a lot that goes on behind the scenes with volunteers and our partners in the community that help make all the events happen. So today we are featuring our partnership coordinator, Quincy Solano.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So last week we had Genesis Leong, who is the license holder for TEDxHonolulu, and we kind of got a brief overview about what TEDxHonolulu is and how the whole process comes to be as an overall organization and the events that we do. And so now today with Quincy, we are going to get a little more in-depth because he has very many roles within the TEDxHonolulu community.
So to kind of start that off, since TEDxHonolulu is unique in the sense of it's part of a larger national and international organization, can you kind of talk about what you knew about TED Talks and TEDxHonolulu before you got involved and what motivated you?
Yeah, definitely. So actually it was really surprising for me because there was a lot of viral videos like on YouTube and on the internet, and then I'm just surfing the internet, and then I see this video and I was like, oh, this video is very captivating, who did this, who produced it? And then come to find out, like, oh, it was a TEDx video. And I was like, oh, what is TEDx? And it kind of just drew me into it. And then, Nins Falafine, she actually put together like the TEDx, one of the first TEDx's. And then what had happened was, she did the event, and then she took kind of a small break. And then George actually put together like a new TEDx team back in 2011.
Is this TEDx specifically for Honolulu, or
specifically for Honolulu?
Okay.
Yeah. So then, what happened was I was actually one of the first ones to be on part of like a board in the very beginning of 2011. And then once I did that, I met Genesis. I met a lot of great people, a lot of people in the community, and then it has just blown up since then.
Okay, so it was TEDxHonolulu that lured you in, and you learned about TED Talks kind of like backwards then.
Yeah, it was a little bit backwards, yeah. So then I was able to kind of like find out about it just through community, and then just watch a lot of videos, get involved, learn a lot about the TEDx community, and it's a great community.
Okay, just to give a little plug, do you remember what the video or you said the speaker, but do you remember the topic that it was?
I remember it was Bill Gates, and then I know he was just kind of talking about like, just technology and how it was changing, people, and what it does, in our day-to-day lives. So I was watching that video and it really just made an impact on me and everything that kind of happened after that.
So what was your first role with TEDxHonolulu when you jumped on board?
Right, okay, so for the very first role, I actually took on more of I was a speaker curator. So I was part of like a bigger board. There's a lot of members of us. And then I was actually specifically in charge of all the speakers, interviewing them, going through the whole speaker process. And with TEDx, there's actually a huge, intensive speaker process. You guys go through it now.
We kind of.
It's huge. It's like it takes just so much of your time, but it's worth it. You want to get the people with great ideas. You want to get people that speak about important topics that impact Honolulu and Hawaii. And that's actually where I met Genesis.
That sounds like a pretty big role for this is
brand
my first
new.
volunteer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like for me, I do a lot of different events, here in Hawaii, and so, when we were talking as a group, we felt that kind of was the best role suited for me in organization and getting the speakers. Of course, I definitely couldn't have done it without the help of Genesis and Kane, at the time. So when we split up into groups, it was us three as the main speaker curators.
And that was that in 2011, your first
2011,
event?
yep, my first event, my very first TEDx event.
What was
so.
the topic for that first year? Do
I
you
think
remember?
it was, I'm not sure if it was, see, for some reason, I only remember paradigm shift.
Uh-huh.
And I'm guessing that's probably Genesis as well.
Well, that's good, because that's what we're doing here on this series, is paradigm shift. So we'll just remember that.
Yeah, so it was good.
So can you talk a little bit about that experience in 2011 in that role of the speaker curator that then motivated you to stay involved and then take on?
Yeah, so like as it is now, my role completely evolved, many times over. But starting off as a speaker curator, it was intensive work, grueling work. It was almost like you can kind of compare it to American Idol.
The preparation.
Maybe compare the audition process to that before.
Exactly. So we marketed out all the speakers that we're looking for TEDx Honolulu speakers, with the best and brightest ideas that they could share on this platform, that TEDx provides. And we put an application. I think we got like a good 100+ applicants, and then from there we looked at who had really great topics, brought them in, for the interview process. Our whole board sat down. I remember it was in Topo Financial Tower, and then we're just sitting there, and then it's very intimidating. And then Genesis was
intimidating for you or for?
Well, definitely intimidating for the speakers, because it's like for some of the speakers, they had no speaker experience, but they really wanted to share their ideas and share their topics with Honolulu itself, right? And then hopefully the world, right? Because if the videos get picked up, they put it on TEDx,
right.
The website, and then you can kind of watch it, like how I watched my first video.
Yeah.
So how did you guys work to put the speakers at ease and get them into the flow with the process? Because it eventually becomes less scary, right?
It does. It definitely does. So what ended up happening is, definitely informing and briefing the speakers, ahead of time, like what to expect, how long they have, and like who is on the board and who's going to be actually, choosing who would be the speakers for the candidacy. All kind of puts the speakers at rest. And then, I think after that point, we just chose and deliberated on who would be the best ones.
When you saw that list of the 100+ people, did you recognize a lot of names, or were it kind of like new people that you're like, oh, who's this person? I've never heard of this, or what they're doing, or what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I know that was my feeling when I saw the audition list for Paradigm Shift. Like, it's cool that people are doing these different things.
Yeah, I saw a lot of friends, believe it or not, because when you become a speaker curator, a lot of people want you to choose them, and then it becomes very like,
really?
I'm going to be auditioning. Did you pick me? Did you do this? I mean, especially since Hawaii is actually a very small island, and then you just have to be very, frank and upfront. Say, I'm not the only one choosing the speakers. I am the curator, but I'm just managing the process. But a lot of my friends were on the list. I saw a lot of people that I never heard of. But in looking at their background and, because in the questionnaire you ask what the background is, who they are and everything like that. But finding out who they were, you just know at the end of the day, or, come showtime, these people would be amazing and people would love to hear them speak about their topics and their conversations. So.
Well, yeah, it's great. It seems like I wish we could, anyone that auditions or puts up an idea, we should feature somehow, or it'd just be great. It's too bad for, our salon events, we only pick 3 or so.
Right.
Main events are 12. But the reality, when you're part of this speaker curator team, it seems that you get to see all the people that are out there in our small community.
Yeah.
Like, wow, there's hundreds of people that would be great to showcase and put it out there.
Yeah,
so.
and that's kind of the good and bad thing, right? As being a curator of the speaker group, because it's like you want everyone to have a chance to actually speak, which they get to in the audition process, but you want them to all make it. I'm sure that when Paula, Randy, and Simon, they're all judging. They're, I want all of them to be speakers, and and you want them to, but at the same time, at the end of the day, you choose the best ones that you feel as a group. You choose, and I think that's what and anyone watching this, if they audition for TEDx, that they understand that we want everyone to actually be speakers. We would love to have them and showcase them. It's just when we go through the process, we have to see what fits the theme the best, and then what can actually help the overall TEDx.
Yeah, I mean, speaking, having that theme is what kind of helps you guys probably narrow it down. So just maybe we could bring up a couple images to show kind of the diversity of the themes and what the events have been? So this photo right here is, that was at Fresh Cafe, and that was disruptive leadership. I think he was the Department of Taxation in there, and I know Natalie Velasco, the neighborhood board representative or secretary, was one of the speakers. So that was a great topic of looking at our government leaders that are kind of initiating different things. Another one we had, this was cultivating community, if you want to talk about a couple.
That was at the Honolulu Theater in downtown, Chinatown area, and that was about bridging the gap between businesses and different parts of the community and the general public. And instead of just having customers and businesses, it's like, well, how do we connect? Where can we come together on issues that we all care about? And we worked really closely with a lot of the business members in that area for the lunch part of our event. It was a really amazing day.
Do you want to talk about any of the classroom catalysts or the salon events? Are there any particular ones that you remember that the topic kind of stuck out to you? Or
You know, it's funny enough, I actually remember the theme for the one that I was a part of it. So the theme was it's time, and then a lot of things actually revolved around kind of the topics of how, like, you know, Hawaii has changed and what time is done to Hawaii, and a lot of the topics it was really great, like, set of topics. I know the one at Fresh Cafe was the one that kind of stuck out to me the most, only because it was very, like, it was kind of nice just kind of being there and being able to network with the group there, and then, you know, everybody was able to kind of, you know, talk about the topic in an intimate setting. Like, sometimes when you do the bigger TEDx events, it's a little bit harder to kind of mingle and network, except for, you know, maybe around lunch, but then you're kind of watching it as a show. But then, you know, the salon event, you can kind of just like network and meet with other people.
Yeah, it's definitely part of the unique thing about TEDx, having those large main events that really, you know, we're showcasing 12 or 13 different people, have the large interactive space outside, and then we also have the salon events, which 3 speakers, a lot more intimate, smaller spaces. I've been excited the fact that even the main events that are big and the small ones, we go to different venues, again, to kind of like experience the community in a different way. It's cool to use TEDx.
Yeah, and I think so. And the great thing I think that comes out of every single TEDx, and I can say this, you know, being involved for, you know, about 4 years now, is that you create really incredible relationships. Like, there's people that in 2011 that I still talk to, and, you know, that I still support on their projects, their ideas. You know, I see that, and you know, even with Genesis and supporting her and all these, you know, TEDx events, you know, in the different capacities, you know, like, I've created a friendship, you know, that will last a lifetime, you know, and great experiences. So.
And is that your motivation to keep doing this?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that, you know, whether you be a sponsor, a volunteer, a speaker, you know, you create this kind of like once in a lifetime experience with the group for that year, you know, in that themed event, that you create like the relationship that will last a lifetime. Like last year, you know, I met Kim, and then, you know, just working with her, putting in the hours, you know, volunteer hours, you're putting in, you know, event coordination, and, you know, you create that relationship that'll last a lifetime. So.
Yeah, and like when you say, you know, the group that you're working with, would you say you focus primarily on getting to know the speakers, or does the format of the organization planning allow you to get to know the other teams as well?
Right. So I think what happens in the TEDx role is, because there's a lot of like different groups and a lot of different kind of departments, so to speak, like the speaker department, you know, sustainability, and, you know, a lot of different teams. You know, you really get to bond, you know, with that strong team, and kind of like make like our speaker creation team. We really bonded. You know, you talk about the things you love, you know, the things you hate, and, you know, you just get into those deep moments, you know, that actually, like, things you can make movies out of and tell stories. And so, you know, that's I believe the reason why, you know, just you know, my friendships, like, outside of after TEDx, like, you know, with Genesis was so deep, because, you know, you go through so much experiences.
Cool. All right, great. Well, that that covered a lot right there. We're going to take a little break and then kind of get into some of those other roles and groups that you mentioned.
Great,
Thank you.
Here's the deal. I'm Jay Fidel. I'm the host of Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, which is the Energy Policy Forum's program on Wednesday. That's how we call Wednesday Energy Wednesday. We call it Energy Wednesday every Wednesday. Are you surprised? Okay, and we try to get guys like Jim Alberts here from Hawaiian Electric who can tell us what's really going on in energy. We want to be informed. It's so important. It's the most important initiative in our state. Clean energy is major, okay? And that's why we cover it on this show. That's the deal. What do you think, Sharon?
I think that's great. That's why we're here every Wednesday from 4 to 5, and we hope you all join us so we can hear people like Jim coming on our show and co-host Ray Starling from Hawaii Energy.
Okay, Jim, you've been here today. You've seen this. You heard what she said. What do you think?
I think it's a tremendous opportunity for people to come together and talk about the issues. Oftentimes, there isn't a good forum to bring these key issues out into the public, and this is a tremendous way to go about it. And the activity of this show is essential to keep talking about energy because, as you said, it's such an essential part of our lives that we need to pay attention to it and we need to think about the future.
Okay, Ray, your turn.
Well, this is a special time in the history of Hawaii where we're making some pretty radical changes in the way we use energy and generate energy. And this show is the one place you can count on coming to every Wednesday and hearing something about the latest issues that are on the table, being discussed, that will affect us all going forward. So come join us, and if you have some ideas you want to share with us about energy, give us a call and let us know. We'll put you up here and let you talk for an hour. So come see us.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Jim. It's great to be, from ThinkTech's point of view, it's great to have this show. We love the show. It's our most important show. So come around and listen to us 4 to 5 on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha and welcome back to Behind the Scenes and Beyond the Talk with TEDxHonolulu. I'm Jennifer Killinger, one of your hosts for today.
And I'm Justine Espiritu. And our guest today is Quincy Solano, who is currently our partnership coordinator with TEDxHonolulu. Thanks again for being here with us.
Cool.
So to kind of recap, we talked about how you learned about TEDxHonolulu, how you got involved. Your first volunteer role was managing the speakers, which is pretty huge.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little more about your other roles. Immediately after that year, did you say, yes, I want more, and did you decide, like, give me a different role, or they're like, hey, let's move you into managing the volunteers, or how did that even play out, switching roles?
After my first experience, I had taken some time to kind of let things settle a little bit, have them kind of put together, like, the everything for the TEDx event, just kind of like, just polish it a little bit. And then what had happened was, I think the curator actually transitioned over to Genesis. And then, with the prior experience that I have, Genesis asked, oh, do you want to help out? And I was like, oh, for you, Genesis, anything. I was like,
That's what everyone
Everybody wants to do everything
No one
for
can say no to
Genesis.
Genesis.
yeah, I think everyone says that. So, Genesis asked, and I was like, whatever you need, I'll help you with. And then the year that I had come back to TEDx, I was watching all the videos, I was still following, all the speakers and everything like that. But the year that I came back, I said, oh, what is it that you need? I said, oh, I need you to take care of all the volunteers. I want you to take
Another small
fun
job.
small job, yeah. And as you know, like, there's a ton of volunteers, and so
Was this Cultivating Community?
it was the one at Hawaii Theater. Is that called?
Yeah.
Cultivating,
Okay, I think that's when I met you.
Yeah, and that's when we met. So this is when me and Justine had met. And so Cultivating Communities, I was in charge of all the volunteers, and there was a ton of volunteers. There's student volunteers, there's speaker volunteers, there are registration volunteers, and
each of these groups of volunteers had a different role to play and different needs
Yes.
that they had. Like the student volunteers needed a little bit more direction with things, whereas the other groups of volunteers kind of took on that role of the leadership, the volunteer leadership, where you create your own activities and do that. But What can you tell us
So-
a little bit about the differences between
Ye-
those groups?
Yeah, so the differences between those groups, you have the ones that are in charge of like the sponsors, right? You have someone, kind of going around making sure that all the vendors and all the sponsors are good to go, make sure they have everything they need, making sure that the customers are going down, or the attendees are going over to see. I'm so sorry. I work in a retail too, so, but making sure the attendees are, just making sure they're interacting, with a lot of the vendors that are there. Also registration. Registration was a big thing. Right when the transition came for around lunchtime,
Yeah,
it was
lunch was insane.
exactly. So and we had a tall order that we needed to do for lunch. So we pulled all the volunteers. It's almost like I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm in the military. So I've been in the military for about 16 years. So
Are you comparing TEDx Honolulu?
No,
Volunteering
well,
with
I
TEDx
think-
Honolulu
yeah,
to the
they're-
military?
Wait, what branch?
Army Reserve. Army Reserve.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm in the
Army Reserve. All right.
So what it is that you gather all the volunteers and then you give them kind of like their marching orders, and then what they do is they organize themselves, and then they get the job done. And I think that was one of the great moments. I think when lunch came, because it was a big project. I think what we had in mind, right? We involved all the restaurants, all the
Yeah.
businesses in the area. We made sure that everyone kind of got that experience to go and check out all the different food opportunities that were there. And so, we had different coordinated like tickets
Yes.
for every single location, and just
Yeah, we
coordinating
just
that.
had to get real creative with
We
that,
got
which
super
is,
creative. And
which is fun, but
and-
that coordination can be insane. So how does an event like this get put, being in charge of that many volunteers that are responsible for putting on an event, I feel like there's something about the mission of TEDx
Yeah.
that motivates those people, that they show up and they want to be a part of this and they want to help out. And can you talk a little bit about that spirit? of the
Yeah,
TEDx
definitely.
Honolulu
What draws
spirit?
us all there, right? What draws us all there is definitely the just the nuggets that come from TEDx Honolulu. When you hear the speakers talk, and the ideas that in business, I've been in business for a long time. What really is the nugget of success is that one brilliant idea that you get that changes your whole thinking, like paradigm shift, right? That we talked about paradigm shift. Paradigm shift is that one idea that when you read it or you hear about it on the television and you do it, it changes your whole world. And so I think it's those paradigm shifts that actually happen when people hear the topics of these speakers. I remember Lonnie in 2011 when she kind of had her TED Talk about death. It was very vulnerable, very intimate, and it's something I'm like, oh, who would talk about that? And then when she spoke about it and she positioned it in such a pleasant and happy experiential way, I was like, it changed my whole thinking about how to look at different things from different perspectives. And I think that when you get those aha moments and you get those paradigm shifts is when people instantly fall in love with TEDx.
Yeah, it's
Forever.
great that you get that, from attending it and seeing the speakers, but the fact that just volunteering and being a part of planning the event is a whole experience in itself. That
It is.
this mission of TEDx and what we're trying to perpetuate and build is kind of instilled in volunteers of just participating.
And it's also providing those little aha moments, those paradigm shifts for us as we do the work. So as you prepared your volunteers to go forth and take charge of this marching orders you've given them, then you have a moment where you're you must feel really proud about that, about
Yeah.
your abilities to make things happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, with every TEDx event, when we do execute the event and, the results that you get from all the attendees attending, all the experience that all the speakers get as well, it's something to feel good about and something that you want to do all the time.
All the time.
Not all the time.
I don't believe
Okay, so it was the volunteer coordination was the next year round,
Yep.
and then what was the next step after that?
And so I was in charge, I was working with a group, with Genesis, which is the partnership team. And so that's also an extended, fun opportunity because you get to work with the business community at that point, right? You get to kind of talk to them about the mission behind TEDx and then, work with them in order for them to gain value from an event like this.
Can you briefly describe what the partnership means?
So what the partnership means is that you kind of get to utilize this really great brand, which is, TEDx, TEDx, the TEDx brand itself, and you get to align yourself with you get to align your business with this great platform, and you get to kind of share your business and share your brand with the rest of the community. And so, there's a lot of like events that we do, that TEDxHonolulu does, the salons and everything like that. And so, businesses kind of get that, additional like exposure and, get out there in the community and show that they're supporting such a great program. And so I think that there's huge value that can be gained from just kind of being a partner with TEDx.
Is there maybe one type of business or organization that benefits from having a partnership, or does the like diversity of the mission and the topics, does that allow for a wide variety of business to find it worthwhile to be aligned with it and participating? Yeah,
definitely. I think actually any business can actually benefit from aligning themselves with TEDx. You have the technology portion. There's sustainability. There's also, even just agricultural benefits. We had a talk about agriculture, and, people who are, serving food, can benefit from it. People who, provide the latest technology can, benefit from it. Even just, any brand, like even a bank can benefit from just being a partner because, you have these thought leaders, you have these individuals that, are movers and shakers of the community, in TEDx, and aligning yourself with that allows you to get that.
And with partnerships, my understanding is kind of beyond just, oh, here's like a monetary lump sum, but there's a lot more opportunity for more interactive and engaging partnership, not just write a check, put their name on the program.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually like a lot of ways that you can be involved, not only with like a ton of the events. You also get like the interactivity of like the social media themselves. You also get a lot of the broadcast from just the e-blast and the subscriptions and the build out, the following that you
like with
that we
the
gain.
following of the partners that we are bringing in, like they send out the information to their people.
Yeah, so you get to connect yourselves with all of these individuals, and then a lot of the partners actually get involved. Like there's areas like the food. Maybe one agricultural company will like sponsor the food, and then they get to say, hey, this is all the things that we grow. These are all the things that we offer, things like that. And then also like, the after party, I know that, we had Surfco and Yelp combined together to create like such an awesome like after party experience, in the Hawaii Theater event that we had. And so there's a lot of opportunities, I think, that where you can kind of align yourself with TEDx.
And now some of the benefits has to do with the taxes. Can you briefly describe how that works?
Yeah, so kind of evolving even more so. So, as my projects have evolved here and there, which we'll talk at a later time. I was able to be kind of a nonprofit partner, a fiscal sponsor of TEDxHonolulu. Having a 501c3 nonprofit organization, we were able to kind of like allow companies and businesses that actually sponsor or be a part of TEDx. They're allowed to get a tax break, off of the fiscal sponsorship. So, they sponsor and then they can actually get a tax break.
And I think what's important about that is that since TEDxHonolulu is completely volunteer run, it's not an organization that necessarily generates a lot of revenue to pay staff. Exactly. And so having a nonprofit sponsor is what kind of helps our partners, when they do support us, then they get that tax
exactly.
benefit from supporting this.
You do bring up a really good point, is the fact that TEDx is completely 100% volunteer based. The curator who takes on the project is volunteering their life, their well, yeah, I mean, it becomes a lifestyle. It actually becomes an actual lifestyle in which but you enjoy it. Like for me, in running the businesses that I do, and I never feel like every day that passes that I feel like I'm working, and volunteering for TEDx, I feel like it does such a great service to the community that you never feel like you're doing work, right?
Cool.
You're volunteering, and but to bring it back is like it's completely volunteer. TEDx never looks to make a single dime. That would be like they zero out everything. Same thing with like a nonprofit 501c3.
We hope to zero out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So I mean that's the ultimate goal. But everyone who's aligning themselves and becoming a partner, their funds just go completely to the program, and at the end of the day, it's there to support the event completely and not go to like cost like staffing or anything like that.
Right,
completely.
which is why our partnerships are so incredibly crucial.
Yes, they're very important. So they keep the program going, and it allows people to get the word out.
Yeah, well, it sounds like an easy sell.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
okay, great. So got into some of the different team specifics. Let's take another break, and then want to get into a little more about your specific nonprofit and other work you're doing in the community.
Thank you, Justine.
Aloha, I'm Kili'i Akina, president of the Grassroots Institute and host on Ehana Kako, a weekly program on the ThinkTech Hawaii broadcast network. Ehana Kako means let's work together. Think of the sad alternative, let's not work together. Here in Hawaii, with all of our diversity and the richness of the people, it's important for us to come together around issues on the basis of what's right and what's good and what's going to serve the common good. And that's what we try to do at Ehana Kako. Every week we interview movers and shakers, people in government, business, and other sectors of society to talk about how to create together a better government, economy, a better world here in Hawaii that can bless the rest of the world. I thank you for your attention to ThinkTech Hawaii, and we look forward to seeing you every Monday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the ThinkTech Hawaii Broadcast Network. We're Ehana Kako, and we wish you well. Aloha.
Aloha, I'm Hunter Hevelin, host of Sustainable Hawaii here at ThinkTech Hawaii. You can tune in every week on Thursday at 2 p.m. to see interviews with sustainability professionals from around the state and even further abroad, learning about activities with water management, food security, waste management, and a whole host of other fascinating opportunities to get engaged with making a greener island. So if you're interested in making the transition from consuming individuals to communities of producers, check us out every Thursday.
Aloha. Welcome back to Behind the Scenes and Beyond the Talk with TEDxHonolulu. I'm your co-host, Justine Espiritu.
And I'm Jennifer Killinger, your other host. And you can tweet to us at Twitter at ThinkTechHi. And you can also check out TEDxHonolulu.org if you'd like to find more information how you can get involved.
So again, we have our guest today, who is Quincy Solano, and so far we've covered how you got involved, the various roles you've played, and so your last role recently has been as TEDxHonolulu's nonprofit sponsor, and it sounds like you got a lot of things going on. So which one is this that's the sponsor? And
Yeah, so the one specifically, and throughout the TEDx years, I've done different sponsorships like monetary and also just contributing either services that we provide, but specifically this one I think was my most, I guess, favorite, because I was able to kind of help in a really impactful way for to be a nonprofit fiscal sponsor for TEDxHonolulu.
So what is your nonprofit?
So the nonprofit is the Esports Foundation, and then what it kind of, the mission is actually to support electronic sports literacy, and I know it's going to be a little bit hard to explain because it is a new
electronic sports literacy.
Yes.
Literacy. So you want to make sure that everybody knows what electronic sports are. So please start with us.
Right. Okay. Yeah, definitely. So literacy and awareness. So esports, it's actually a $2 billion industry, and it's actually growing. Right now, they've had like tournaments all throughout like Seoul, Korea. They're doing the World Championships for a game called League of Legends, which is going to be happening in Europe. And what they do is they hold these like I don't know if you guys know the Seoul Stadium, but it has 40,000 attendees, and they sell out their tickets all the time. The Staples Center 2 years ago, they sold the stadium out completely. And these like esports athletes actually become like national celebrities.
So they go to the stadium. And
Yes.
Is this like the LAN setup, and they set up their games and they all connect together and play for like 28 hours straight?
Yeah. So it's just 5 computers. Like the most popular one right now is League of Legends, but they put together 5 computers, and then you have these athletes, like esports athletes, that sit on the computers and then kind of just battle it out, and it's called a Mobile Online Battle Arena, so a MOBA, and they just, it's like a tournament, you know, they battle it
What
out.
did they win?
The latest one won $1 million. The last
$1
team.
million.
I wanna
Okay,
be
so
involved.
that's
Yeah.
why,
I wanna be
that's
part
why
of
it's
it.
so big.
Yeah,
Okay, that makes
it's
more
actually
sense
a
now.
very huge industry. Yeah, the
Wow.
prize
Wow.
pools are huge.
Do they
so.
have to pay to join?
No, not necessarily. They play in the nationals, and then once they qualify for nationals, it's called the LCS, and then they compete against the world.
Do we really want the world knowing that they can get paid to be a gamer?
Some people we do. That's our awareness. But we want them to know that, you know, esports can actually be, you know, like something that's worthwhile.
What other types of games?
So League of Legends is a big one. Something that's up and coming right now is it's called Heroes of the Storm. There's also a card game that's becoming more like tournament style, which is called Hearthstone. And then the Dota, the Defender of the Ancients International, is $8 million prize pool right now.
Wow.
So then what's the esports, what's your organization's connection to that? Just spreading awareness and
So specifically,
encouraging people to get involved?
right. So specifically, what the foundation actually does itself is not only does it bring esports awareness, but there's two missions that, you know, for us as Esports Foundation wants to help, like Hawaii specifically. One is getting better computers. So there is kind of like a broader benefit, you know, to the state of Hawaii. We raise money to actually purchase computers. So we, like our old computers, we're looking to donate like these high powered computers to the schools, so they can use it for school if they want to, but mainly it would be for like competitive gaming play. And right now, from Hawaii, there's a guy named Dyrus, and he right now he gets paid to play competitively, and he's from Hawaii. He's from Maui, so. Yeah, so he made it all the way to the competitive scene as a pro player.
Well, that's amazing to me. I'm really ignorant in the whole gaming thing, and so, but it's great because even though I don't know about it, you know, here is a local kid that is, you know, moving around the world and able to like represent Hawaii, and he's doing his thing, and gets to kind of.
It's very similar to like say a national championship, national champion. Ship person from like Hawaiian gymnastics or diving or fencing or like a Michelle Wee. You know, these people like represent the state of Hawaii, and that's what the Esports Foundation is actually looking to do. So not only like are we trying to provide like, we're also trying to improve the internet infrastructure through the funding that we receive as well, because one of the big problems that we hear, you know, throughout the gaming community or the esports community, I should say, is that, you know, internet has been a huge issue, and to be competitive, you need high-speed internet that will allow you to play at the capacity that all of these national players are competing in. So
So it's really about increasing the technology capabilities.
Right. So it's not just all about, I know everyone says, oh, esports is all about gaming, or, you know, like it's about the computers and people playing games, but we really wanted to broaden our mission statement to improve the technology infrastructure through getting better computers, you know, to the schools so they can play competitive. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. To play competitively, and then also, of course, improve I'm so sorry. Improve the internet infrastructure, so then you know, there's lagless time, you know, less latency, and then things like that.
And so what kind of specific ways are you able to, through your foundation, to make some of these changes?
Right, so a lot of things that we do, you know, like, you know, working with TEDx, you know, it allows us to kind of get out there first and foremost. We do a lot of fundraising events. Something that we do for fundraisers now is a video game donation drive. And so, you know, we align ourselves with Best Buy, and we also align ourselves with GameStop. You know, you turn in your old video games to us. We'll redeem it and cash it out. And then what we do is we donate it to the Esports Foundation in order to get better systems, better games, better computers, you know, like help like internet companies to actually, you know, provide it to like in residents that actually need it so that they can play competitively and everything like that. And then,
how do you decide who gets the stuff? Is there a certain group of people that you
so
aim
so
to
something
help?
the program that we set up in the past 2 years is called the High School Challenger, and so it's an organized club slash let's call it club for now, because we're getting approved through all the Department of Ed high school locations. So High School Challenger is almost like the state championships for electronic sports in the state of Hawaii. So we have Iolani involved, we have McKinley High School. So we get all these high schools involved, and what they do is they all get to compete against one each other. It becomes kind of like a club membership. And
So then, hold on. Do you know Gabriel Yanagihara then?
Yeah, I know
Okay.
Gabriel. Yeah, all
That
the
sounds
gamers
like
know each other.
directly related to
Well,
what he does,
and,
one
you know,
of our speakers.
So interesting too is that I actually remember Gabriel from an event that we did, a while back ago. But yeah, he is one of the speakers. He was one of the past speakers of the last event. And then, so through this club, we actually choose students who would gain a scholarship to kind of get into like the technological field of gaming, whether it's programming, whether it's visual arts. So we actually choose within the membership someone to receive a scholarship of $500. Yeah, to further their education. So the nonprofit also allows us to get scholarships, to raise funds to get computers for a lot of people, partner with GameStop because they're a video game organization, and then also partner with Best Buy because they're an electronics store to provide these services for
So being that
students.
TEDxHonolulu isn't directly related to gaming, where do you see the value in partnering and supporting?
Yeah, exactly.
The foundation.
Yeah, so where's the connection, right? So definitely, I think no matter what, like TEDx, in a lot of the topics that I've seen cover technology.
Right.
And we, in this day and age, even the computers and the phones that we use all kind of are starting to revolve around technology. Unfortunately, we can't, shy away from it. So, for esports, we kind of embrace it and understand that technology is a big part. The T in TEDx is technology. And so we find that, on this platform, Esports Foundation is very technologically driven. Internet, computer, hardware is involved with technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so we feel like there's that connection with the audience that is looking to further and better benefit technology.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that the T stands for technology. Again, the E stands for education.
Entertainment.
And,
The D is for
and
design.
design. Well, it's okay that I messed that up because it has evolved so
Yes.
much, and
Right.
now those are maybe the original topics, but
Yes.
the reality is so many other topics are incorporated now, and that's what I also think is great is that it's not, when we have a speaker, it's not just completely focused on technology that's
Right.
then speaking about technology to all the same people in
Right,
their
core.
technology community.
Right.
But when we have these events, it's the technology person, the agriculture person, the
Right, it
energy
diversifies
person, the transportation person.
Yep.
And I find a lot of value in that versus a conference or a presentation that's
Right.
100% focused on one topic, because then you're speaking to all the same
Yeah,
people. It brings
Exactly, and that's what I think TED brings to the table is that the diversification of topics, but the diversification of the attendees that attend. A technology person may be like, hey, I want visual design, or I want like graphics or some type of video component added into like my computer system or anything along those lines. Like you get the best of those three worlds.
So
right then and there.
were you able to bring your technology or the Esports Foundation's work to our event?
Yeah, so
'cause I know that there
mainly
were.
what we did was we just provided awareness. That's mainly, like, we wanted to let people know that we existed. And that was the first and foremost thing.
Cool. Well, believe it or not, we're out of time already. And thank
Yeah.
you so much. I mean, your
Thank you.
variety of experience and positions allowed us to cover a lot of ground of what the TEDxHonolulu experience is. So thank you so much
thank you.
for joining us.
Thank you both of you for having me. I
And,
appreciate it.
We will be back next week with Behind the Scenes and Beyond the Talk with TEDxHonolulu. Thanks.